Diggs Nation.
Tonight on Peanut Butter Magic, we're discussing campaigning. And we got a very special guest, my main man, Dennis Johnson. And it's the final episode of the season. Y'all stay tuned.
It's the Peanut Butter Magic Show. It's the Peanut Butter Magic Show.
Welcome, everybody, to Peanut Butter Magic. And this is our season finale. I am the guy. My name is Sway Low. And with me, I have my main man, Brandon Boston Austin. What up, Brandon?
What's going on, man? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Like we discussed earlier, man, I rolled out of bed and came into the studio.
Dig that. Me too. Tonight's our last show of the season, man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good.
Feel a sense of accomplishment?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a roller coaster, but we made it through.
That's right. We here.
Yeah. Speaking of here, we're here tonight to talk about campaigning. And I got a very special guest with me tonight. Very special guest. I am honored to have this guy be a part of this podcast. My main man, Dennis Johnson, I've known this guy for a quarter century. And when I met him, literally, it changed my music life. So I want to welcome you guys, my homeboy, DJ Dennis Johnson. What up, Dennis?
What's going on, Sway Low, my man?
Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I am so honored to be here. Just flattered, just blessed to be here, man.
Yeah, I'm so glad to see your face.
See yours too, man. Hope to see you in person someday. We're gonna get that together, though.
Yeah, I wanted to come when you guys were in Huntsville, but we had bad weather.
Yeah.
That same day, we had bad weather. But I had planned on coming down to see you when you guys hit Huntsville and whatnot. So my apologies to you.
It's not a problem. We'll be out there again. Never a problem.
Beautiful. Now, we're going to dive right into it, yo. Now, for those of y'all that may not be familiar with Dennis, I'm going to give him a chance to kind of introduce himself to our audience and just kind of give a brief introduction, DJ, how you got in.
Oh, man. Well, it all started out when I was just a twinkle in my father's eye. Sagittarius, and we're in Sagittarius right now. So
Taking it all the way back.
Right.
Oh, man. You're asking how I got into the game, how I started?
Well, more so just kind of give them a brief summary of who Dennis Johnson is.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I am a producer, engineer, songwriter, somewhat of a musician sometimes. I've done the hip hop thing, the R&B thing, the pop thing, the rock thing. I'm, pretty versatile.
Yes, indeed.
I do that on purpose. I do it on purpose just to. It helps, when you learn about other genres. Like I've learned country and R&B is basically the same thing.
Right.
But I would have never known that if I didn't, dabble in this little country thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So we dabble in this production thing.
I'm gonna need some explanation here as to what you mean by country and R&B are the same thing.
It's the same story, man. You can take any R&B record, like an acapella, and put it over top of a country record. It's the same story. It's the same vibe.
Really?
Just put over, obviously, different kind of chord changes, but it's basically the same story.
Huh.
Think about it.
I agree. I really do. I agree.
Huh.
I do. So you started in the high school band. We going back.
Oh,
my
you
dude.
want to go way
We going back. Now, you started, was it junior high, middle school, high school band? How'd you
I
get started?
started elementary school. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
started playing drums. I mean, I can take it even before that.
Okay.
My parents were the caretakers of an American Legion Hall. I bet you didn't even know this.
I did not.
Okay, so I grew up in an American Legion Hall in Yonkers, in Northeast Yonkers, Colonial Heights, called the John Dunbar Post. It's not there anymore. But so I had access to a whole lot of really cool stuff. One of those things being a lot of parties. People would rent the place out.
Right.
Parties would come, people would rent it out and have, sweet 16s, weddings, you name it, any kind of party. All of these parties back in the days, and I'm going way back, I don't want to show my age here, but
Right.
way back, people would hire bands to play at these parties and stuff. Now, our living quarters at this place was right behind the bandstand. So we had a door, we had like a little peephole. So whenever a party would get booked, they'd have a band. So I'd be watching this band set up and stuff and watching them tune up their instruments and everything. And, watching these guys, test everything out, make sure everything is good, and then start hitting. I'd just be glued. I'm like, I have to be a part of this.
Right.
So that's what really kind of sparked me, getting into this thing. I just had to be a part of it. Of course, the place, they had a piano too. So when everybody left, I'd be sitting behind the piano trying to play all the stuff that I heard the night before. And I'm talking about, like 3 or 4 years old,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that was like, the beginning spark for me, as far as, like, yeah, man, I want to do music. I got to get into this thing. So that was a very humble beginning.
Very
Then, of
good.
course, as I got older and stuff, in elementary school, I picked up drums and stuff and always played a little piano by ear. And that's really, how it started. That was like, the foundation.
You used to tell me too, I can't play the piano. And I was like, I beg to differ. What do you mean? Because you be sitting there playing the Charlie Brown joint and all kinds of crazy stuff, and you just be playing like, you be like, I can't really play. You play better than me.
I'm a glorified noodler. That's what I call myself. I'm a glorified noodler. But I play well enough to write. I'm not like, you're not going to see me sitting on, somebody's gig and actually, playing. But in the studio, what I can't play, I can, slow the sequence down. And
That's me. Yep.
So I play well enough to write.
Yeah. In the studio, I can play anything.
There you go.
Anything you put in my hands, I can play there. All right. So how did everything transition into like studio recordings and like really, taking one to get into the game serious?
Okay, that's another story. Okay, during the during the time of playing drums and piano, whatever, as I don't know, I guess about 14, 15 years old, I got into DJing. Okay, I got my dad. I was very blessed. My dad bought me like all my equipment,
Right.
whatever. So I got into that, and it started from there. Me and my boy Will, Big Fuqua.
Big Fu.
We did, yeah, my man. We did a talent show at Roosevelt High School in Yonkers. I had already graduated. I was in college. I was here in college. He was still in high school at the time, finishing up his 12th year. They had a talent show, and we decided, it's like, yeah, let's get in it, So, I bought my equipment and stuff, and, he was going, rock the mic. So, we did our thing. We set up, we didn't win the talent show. However, one of the teachers in the audience, who was just there just to check it out, happened to be a record producer, and he was looking to sign some rap acts. And that's, you don't even know this.
I don't. I'm learning.
A lot of people don't know this, but this is God's honest truth. I got into this business almost accidentally because what happened was they had a record that it was already done, all the music, all the production. They just needed somebody to do the rap and the DJ to do the scratches. So long story short, he saw us, doing our thing. He approached Will after. It's like, yo, man, like what you guys did, have you guys ever been in the studio, made a record before? Nope.
Right.
You guys like the opportunity to do it. Yep. Now, originally they had another rap group from Yonkers. I'm not going to say the names, and they were originally supposed to do it, but I don't know, something happened and whatever. Long story short, it was either us or them that was going to do this record. And it boiled down to whoever could get to the studio first wins. So when we got the word that, hey, man, we have an opportunity to make this record, we couldn't get to Brooklyn fast enough, man.
Right.
So we actually wound up, going out. We took the train, the subway train, 4 train all the way out to Brooklyn. And yeah, man, we did this record. And that was actually the first time I was ever in a recording studio.
Wow.
So 18 years old.
Wow.
So first time ever. And we wound up we did a record. I don't know if you remember the record by Timex Social Club. It was called Rumors.
Rumors, yeah, absolutely.
Rumors.
Absolutely.
We did a rap version of Rumors. It came out that same year on Sunnyview Records. We had we did like a 3-single deal with them at the time. But yeah, we did a record called Yeah, That's It, aka the Rumor Rap. Shout out to Ron Cerise, Questar Welsh for giving us the shot to do this thing.
Beautiful.
Yeah, man. So that's when the bug really hit me. It's like, okay. So that was like the beginning of the end of the DJing for me, and the beginning of, production and engineering, because I've never seen an engineer. I've never seen, the whole MIDI thing, and like, where's the music coming from? I see the tape machine there, but it's not moving, and yet I still hear music. This is back in the 80s. So, that whole thing just kind of fascinated me. So I'm like, okay, I already know what I'm going to be doing the rest of my life.
Dig that.
But that's really how it started. And that was my first taste of, the whole recording studio and production, experience and everything. And so that's really how it started, from that one record. First time in the studio. I've never been in the studio before.
Yeah.
First time in there, 18 years old, we made a record. Sold about 30,000 copies. I didn't see a dime from it, but I was just happy to be on the radio.
Yeah, it got you in. You know what I mean? It got you in. That's kind of how my story was when I opened for Biggie, man. It was between me. We went to the radio station in Nashville, and we walked in, and we were very cocky, and we had just released our first album ever. We walk in the radio station, and the lady sitting at the front desk, we thought that she was just the receptionist. So we walk in, we cocky as hell. We pull out our cassette tape and whatnot and slam it on the desk. Like, yo, you gonna want to play that. You know what I'm saying? You gonna want to play that record. And she was like, oh, you guys are cocky. So if you that cocky, we got a contest that winner gets to open for Notorious B.I.G. If you that cocky, put your tape in the box too. We threw our tape in the box. She called us 2 days later, and she was like, we have somebody that we picked the winner, but she's gonna need some dances. Which, hindsight being 2020, I think we were the winner anyway. But because we were so cocky, I think she had to kind of knock us down a couple of pegs or whatever the case may be. And it was like, we need, can you dance? And I was like, yeah, I can dance. So we hung the phone up. She called me again. She was like, you got somebody else that can dance with you? And I was like, yeah, I got another person. And she called me again and asked me for a third dance. Our group was like 3 people. You understand me? So it was all a setup. At the end of it all, whoever they said didn't win, said that won, wound up couldn't make it. And we got the shot. The same freaking story, man. Same story. Just
That's awesome. That's why we get along so well.
Right.
So we had the same story we didn't even know all these years.
Right. You know what I mean? Same thing happened to me and whatnot. Now, I met you in 1997.
Okay, yeah.
By that time, you had like 4 or 5 careers by the time I even showed up. What happened after the deal, the 3-single deal? Where did you go from there?
Okay. Wow, that's a good question. All right, after that deal, I got introduced to some really good people that really kind of took me under my wing back in the this is early 90s now.
Mhm.
One of them being Bob Baldwin,
Big
mutual
shout.
friend of mine, of ours, actually.
Yeah.
So, he introduced me to Bob Baldwin, took me to his house, met him. I'm like, wow, this guy is a keyboard genius.
Indeed.
Bob took a liking to me. Lennox told him, what I do. It's like, yeah, Dennis, he's an R&B guy, does the hip hop thing too. And, Bob, I already knew who Bob was, but I never met him because I used to hear his records on CD 101.9 at the time. Stuff. And I didn't realize he was local. He lived right at New Rochelle, he lived right there. And so he took me to his house and, we met up. And next thing I know, Bob is like, hey, man, I need some help on this new song I'm doing. Why don't you, take this song home and, figure out some stuff that you want to add to it and whatever. And it just kind of started from there. I'd go over there. This is when sampling was big and I'd put drum loops and stuff underneath this song and everything. And man, it just kind of grew from there. We just had this great friendship and he would just pull me into all of these situations, man. From him, I worked with Marion Meadows, Will Downing, Glenn Jones, Freddie Jackson,
Phil Perry.
Phil Perry. I can just keep going. But Bob, he really introduced me to great people, really groomed me for the business, told me, taught me all the pitfalls, the stuff, retaining your publishing and master rights ownership. And this is way before the internet, this was just, So he was great. I met this other guy named Matt Noble, who was he's a everything, engineer, producer, songwriter, singer, just great musician, all around great guy. He, it's another story. I'm gonna try to condense these things real short. Long story short, I booked some studio time at a studio in Bronxville called The Loft, and he was one of the main engineers there. And he basically, he took my name and number after the session was over. I did we did a rap tune. I brought a friend of mine up there and we did a rap song. I was doing some scratches for this record or whatever. And he took my name and number down. He says, hey man, give me give me a number so I may call you sometime if I ever need somebody to, do some scratches or whatever. Called me right after I got laid off for my last full-time day job back in 1994. I used to be a milk truck driver.
That's what Kyron told me.
I used to drive for Parmalat Milk. And so another long story short, he called me up right after we all got laid off. He's like, yeah, Dennis. Like, yeah. It's like, yeah, man, you remember me? I'm Matt Noble from, Loft. I said, yeah, of course, man, I remember you. So, yeah, I got this situation, man. I got this rap group, they're signed to, at the time, I think they were signed to Interscope. And he says, they're looking for, they need to hire a DJ to do some scratches on their record. Fine, sure. Where, when?
Right.
So I wound up, going to the studio and doing the stuff and meeting up with the guys. And after the session was over, I guess they liked what I did. I don't know. They started talking amongst themselves and everything. They're like, hey, man, you want to be our DJ and go on the road with us? Yes. You want to do beats for us? Yes. You want to be in the group? Yes. So that spun me into a whole different situation where, you remember when I was with DV8 Records?
Right, DV8,
that whole situation. First we were signed to Interscope, we were signed to Polygram, and then we went into DV8, which was a subsidiary of A&M Records.
Right.
So that's how I got into that whole loop, and that's when we started getting more into doing R&B records and pop records. I got signed to that label, not only as an artist with that group, but also as a producer, as a staff producer. And I got a chance to work with Avril Lavigne and Celine Dion, just many others, man. So it's amazing how it's just like one person or just like a few people can really change your life. Hey, man, I need you for this thing. And next thing you know, you're in this whole other thing. And so that's how that whole thing got started. And you met one of the groups that I was working with.
I did.
At the time, Fat, that rap group, who I'm still in contact with. And those guys are killing still.
Very good, really.
Yes, sir. So that's how that came to play.
That's
I got-
crazy.
Yeah.
I remember when I saw you on Jay Leno.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was a light bulb moment for me. Let me tell you. And I don't know if you called me or how I found out you were on Jay Leno, but I don't remember how it happened. But I remember like waiting for that day for it to drop on Jay Leno, and then I saw you with Toby Lightman.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, Dennis, this guy, I've been in his attic a million times. You know what I'm saying? It's on Jay Leno. And that was the moment that kind of changed my perspective on like, this shit is really possible. It can really happen. Like you my homeboy, and I see you on, late night television. That was a big moment for me. You know what I mean?
That was fun because that was my first time on TV. We did Leno and Letterman and Conan and Carson, and that was I had never been on TV before, so that was that was pretty monumental for me too. I'm like, are you serious right now? We're really doing it. Yeah, we're really doing it. Okay.
And the first time out being on that big a platform, that's amazing.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
Amazing.
Just blessed.
What you got to add, Brent?
I didn't know that this guy was on Jay Leno. I'm still kind of blown away by that. You never told me that story.
Yeah, we try to keep it humble around here. You know what I mean?
No, you don't. That's awesome.
But yeah, Dennis is a really, 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 really big deal. You know what I mean? Which is why I really wanted to speak to him on our podcast today, because I think he really has some insight on how the game really works and operates. Like right now, you have Randis Music, right?
Yes, sir.
How long have you guys been doing that?
Since about 06, 07.
Now, what prompted that?
What is that?
I'm sorry?
What is that? What
Randis Music is it's a record label that me and my wife own.
Okay.
And operate and stuff.
Awesome.
We created, my wife, her name is Reagan Whiteside. She's a
Big shout.
contemporary smooth jazz flautist / vocalist. We created the label because we couldn't get a deal. We couldn't get a sign. We're going back to, early, 03, 04, 05. We were trying to get a sign to, a label to do, a smooth jazz album. Right. At the time, we were told, well, smooth jazz, flute doesn't really test very well in smooth jazz, so we're going to pass on this whole thing. And so that's when we decided to create, our own label. And we had a distribution deal at the time and everything before the whole internet thing really, took over. Like, obviously you don't need that stuff now.
Right.
But we started the label because nobody would give her a deal. And we still wanted to be heard. We still needed a platform. And we were blessed to be able to have, a little bit of distribution back then as well. And that's
amazing. That's amazing. It really is.
Yeah, man.
Now, everything looks good when you guys roll it out to the public, like the visual aspect of what you guys do. Is there a particular strategy that you go into on how you want, because you're pretty consistent with how you do things as well. And like I told you last week, I spent Thanksgiving night just going through your whole YouTube and just doing that whole business. And I see the kind of things that you all are doing. And like, what's your thought process when you guys sit down and say, okay, we're gonna release this single, here's what we want to do with it? Is there a process to that, or you just fly by the seat of your pants? How do you do it?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
A little bit of both. It's just me and her, we're the label. We don't really have anybody else, except for, our radio programmer guy. But other than that, it's just us. Sometimes we just completely wing it. It's like, we're just going to put this thing out and see what happens. Other times we have, strategies. Okay, her last single, Thrill Ride, we knew we were going to shoot a video for this song before the record even came out. We said, we have this great concept, we're going to put her in front of, that vehicle and stuff. And, we're going to shoot a video for this thing and the album cover. So we had a little bit of a strategy there. I mean, we didn't know what was going to happen, but we just had some great plans. It's like, okay, we're going to promote this thing. We're going to have this video come out. as soon as this record goes to radio, which is something we never did before. We never had that luxury. Every time we always wind up shooting a video or whatever, 2 or 3 months after the thing, comes out.
Yeah.
This time I said, we're gonna do something different. Let's drop the video along with the single. So as soon as it hits radio, people will see it. So we have a publicist as well. And, she's really great at sending out press releases to, different organizations in this thing. Publicists, they're not cheap.
No.
They're not cheap, but they're great to have because it's all about the contacts. It's all about, these people having relationships with folks that can get your stuff in certain situations that you just can't get stuff to. You have to know these people. So between the publicist and just, this planning this thing out, shooting a video, timing is everything in this business. What else? Interviews, leading up to the release. Sometimes a publicist will set something up. Sometimes people will just contact us, directly talking about, hey, we want to get you on this. And so next thing you know, you have, 10, 15, 20, radio station interviews. People like to see video stuff. So we're constantly uploading her playing flute or doing whatever or talking or just being silly. All of this stuff, the audience, they can relate to that stuff, whether she's doing something serious in the studio here playing, or she's just in the kitchen cooking and cracking jokes.
Right.
All of that, you believe it or not, it really helps to engage the audience. Content, as much as you possibly can. It really, really helps. So I'll say in this order, radio promotion, content, shows.
Yeah. Shows still important, you think?
Very much so.
Okay.
Very much so.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. People still, at least in this genre, people come out.
Yeah.
Will come out. I mean, we've been we did Spain a couple of years ago.
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And that was crazy. That was nuts. We had a record called Corey's Bop, her first number one single. People coming up to me, can barely speak English, coming up to us talking about, we love Corey's Bop. How is Corey doing? Because they know the whole story of how, So it was crazy. I'm like, who are you? But so it's a head trip, man. So it's that relationship, with fans and stuff, man. It's so important. It's so important. Social media, absolutely, actually should be number one on the list. You got to have content. You really have to have a social media presence. It's so important. It really is. And I always tell people too, when you do social media, don't do these fake streams and fake followers, because two things can happen. Well, number one, you're gonna get caught.
Yep.
And then they're gonna kill your stuff and you're gonna be back down to zero, man. Yep. So don't do that. And number two, if you do get away with it, you're never gonna know what your numbers really are.
Yep.
Will never know that. So I would not advise people to, give us $20 and when you wake up tomorrow, you'll have 20,000 followers.
Right.
Don't do
right.
that. Don't do that. You're cheating yourself.
Yeah. I think that helps, like when you go to a promoter or an investor, if you have 5,000 followers and that you could get a larger investment if you showed up with 30,000 followers. So you pay that $20 and then you go in there and go, look at this, man. I've got all these people that are going to see your product whenever you promote with my platform. You don't think that would help?
That's a good question, but you got to know these people are not stupid. They know how this thing works, and they know just as well as we do that you can pay $20 and get that stuff. So they'll look at that and they'll be like, okay, you have all these followers and subscribers and all these streams, yada, yada. How come I ain't never heard of you? How come your record's not on the radio if you're so successful right now? How come you have all of that, yet you only have, 10 streams on Spotify?
Right. Right.
Oh, I see.
So you got to really be careful. These guys that they're not stupid.
Yeah, right. Because they're gonna be investing some kind of bread into you.
Yeah.
Right.
So, so they're gonna want to see something on the back end of that, and if you can't deliver,
right,
that could pose a problem.
So as soon as they look behind the curtain, it doesn't look very authentic.
Right, exactly.
I see.
Exactly right. Yeah, keep it real with these people, just, if you only got whatever 5,000 followers, say, hey man, we got 5,000, but they're ours.
Yep.
We do that, the okie doke.
Yep. And a lot of times you don't even need a ton of followers to get invested. That a lot of times one doesn't correlate to the other, depending on the work.
Absolutely right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely right. Yeah. You really don't.
This was great, man. This was great. What's on the horizon for the next year, man? What are we looking at?
Yeah. Well, we're expanding. We signed an artist on our label, Randis, this year. We put a single out on him. We're doing like single deals. Trying to do something a little different. We're not really doing album deals. Everything is single driven now.
Right.
So, we're doing single deals. So we're looking to actually sign other artists.
Okay.
Eventually, we're looking to expand this thing and not just do the smooth jazz stuff. I'd love to get back into. I still do my R&B stuff, of course.
Yeah.
I'll bang out the occasional hip hop beat every now and again.
Yeah.
Call for.
Cold with it. You the coldest producer I know, hands down. I don't know anybody personally colder than you.
You are too kind, and
man. Just cold, man.
That's very flattering coming from you, Sway, because you are a bad dude, and you've always. Let me tell you about your boy Sway Low, man. He's when I first met him, he was very young. But what I liked about him is he was so hungry, and he was just such a well-mannered kid. I'm gonna use the word kid because you were a kid.
I was. Yep.
You were a kid.
I was. Yep.
But you were a good kid, and that's what attracted me to you and Kyron. You guys were I've known Kyron since he was a teenager.
Yep.
You were just such good kids. I'm a little older than them and stuff. Not a little bit,
A little bit, just a smidgen.
But you just, I would rather work with a good kid than a jerk any day. I don't like working with kids, And you guys were just, I could just see what was in your heart. They had a heart full of talent. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I got to try to do something, for these guys. And they were so ridiculously talented. Swalo is one of the few guys that I know who can sing equally as well as he can rap. There's people that do it, but I haven't seen anybody do it as well as Swalo.
I appreciate
Swalo does it. He is just wickedly nice, MCing as well as singing. And I was just so impressed with that. He's like, yeah, well, I sing too. I'm like, you sing too. And he started singing. I'm like, double threat. Yeah, I was just blown away by that. And his heart and his talent. And he was just such a good kid. And it was just back then and until this day, there's not a thing on this planet that I wouldn't do for him. He is such a great guy. Such a great guy. Man, just great people.
Yes, he is. There ain't nobody like Swalo.
Nobody. Absolutely not. Great guy.
I want to tell the story of the first night I met Dennis. I was working a job. Me and we mentioned Kyron. Kyron is the glue that brought us together and whatnot. And we were working the same job. And it was late at night. It was maybe 11 o'clock at night. We were getting off. And he said to me, he was like, I have somebody I want you to meet. Excuse me. And I was like, B, I'm tired. It's 11 o'clock. It's Saturday night. I'm exhausted. All I want to do is go home. And he said, no, this is someone you're going to want to know. Not someone that you're going to want to meet. He said, this is someone that you're going to want to know. So just the wording in that within itself was just like, okay, let's go. So we drive to Yonkers, all right? We go to Yonkers and we knock on the door and Dennis greets us with this big smile and open arms and stuff like this. And he's all excited. And like I said, I'm exhausted. You know what I mean? Wanting to go home, go to bed. So we walk up the stairs and we go inside his studio. His studio was in his attic. And we go inside the studio and I'm like, wow, okay, all right, okay. And then he started playing some tunes for me. And everything that I ever thought that I knew about making records went out the window at that moment. And I was like, I have a lot of learning to do. You know what I mean? So I took it on as that. Then, like, I remember the first night I met Bob Baldwin at your house. That was another moment as well, because we were all just partying bullshit. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you guys were producing a record at the same time, but we were just having a good time. And, you know, although we were laughing and cutting up but out the corner of my eye, I just kept looking over there at you. You know what I'm saying? How you was putting it together. And I was just like, oh, that's how he does it. Oh, that's how it's done. Oh, because every now and again you would play a little bit, because you were editing. It was an editing session. And you would play a little bit. And I was like, I never knew. Because my biggest thing with making R&B records was the transition. How do you get it to transition from one section to the other seamlessly? And I learned how to do it that night with you and Bob and whatnot. And it was just like, oh, this guy is a wealth of information, man. I can learn a lot. I kind of clung on to Dennis after that, man. I just wanted to be around him all the time. Anytime he had free time, I wanted to go to his house and just, if we didn't even do nothing, I just wanted to be in his presence, because I felt like I was in the presence of greatness. You know what I mean? You know, I never met anybody like him from a music standpoint. I never met anybody like Dennis. It was insane.
That's flattering. Thank you, Sway. I tell you, Bob really, he got me to next level. He got me to next level with my playing.
Yeah.
You know, he forced me to, because I was always an ear guy. You know, just kind of noodle around and play by ear. But you know, I played a little. He's like, you need to learn what you're playing. He's like, you know, like when you play, you know, these notes together, you know, this is a C-7. Okay, I'm saying, okay, all right, it's just a cool sounding chord.
Right.
C-7. Okay, all right, whatever. So he really taught me a lot of music theory.
Yeah.
A lot, you know, chord progression. Even though I was doing them anyway by ear, you know, he's the cat that really is like, okay, what you doing there? It's like, I know, yeah, it is right. You just did a 2-5-1. Okay, a 2-5-1. So now I bought books and learned, okay, that's a 2-5-1, that's a 1-4. Even though I was doing, so he was the guy that really got me to the next level with, as far as just being more musical with what I do, because his production skills are
insane.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show.
Yeah. Big shout out to Bob, man.
Shout out to Bob.
I give him credit too. For me, like I watched both of you that night and was like, yo, this is different.
And Bob, you know, he mentored Reagan as well. And, you know, when we got her, he was the one that, because she was originally, when I met her, she was right out of college. Right. And she was classical musician. She didn't know anything about jazz, but she wanted to make the transition. So Bob actually, you know, took everything that he knows and deprogrammed her from this whole classical thing and say, okay, we're going to break all those classical rules, because there's really no improvising in classical music, but jazz and stuff, you know, all day, that's all we do and stuff. So he was really the one that got her out of that classical thing and transitioned her, you know, into jazz, man. And you know, she is, you know, forever grateful. You know, we're students of Bob. We're all
students of Bob. You know what I mean?
And he's so proud. You know, he sees the hit records and stuff. Yep. He's on the hit records. You know, he's writing some of this stuff. You know, so it's such a blessing to be able to turn it around and kind of pay him back. It's like, all right, Bob, all right, I need you to write this bridge on this tune here, and you know, get this going. And next thing you know, it's charting. He's so like excited, and he's so proud that you know. We're his students, you know. And,
beautiful.
You know, we're
Bob, I'm on the way, Bob. I'm letting you know I'm on the way.
Yes, we know it's coming. Yeah, man. So yeah, shout out to him. Shout out to my man Ron Cerise. Like I said, he was the guy that gave us our first shot in the music business. My first time in a recording studio. he was the guy that made that happen, and I'm still in contact with him. And we still, I produce his daughter. His daughter's a singer, so I'm producing some music with her. Shout out to my man Matt Noble over at the Loft in Bronxville. Guy that really introduced me to some great people, took me under his wing as well, and just put me into some really nice situations. So I've been blessed to have some really good people, in my life, man, to make this thing happen.
Just amazing. I think the jewels that you dropped today, man, be beneficial to a lot of kids that don't really have real knowledge of how this thing works. You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. Just kind of education, because everybody wants to be a star sometimes, but a lot of people don't know the path it takes to get there. You know what I mean? And speaking to someone that's actually bona fide and has a real strategy on how the game goes, it can always be helpful.
Yes, sir.
As far as that's concerned. What you got?
Radio is still king. Yes, social media is great too, and likes and followers, but radio still is king. Don't let anybody tell you any different. It's all about radio. Get your stuff promoted to radio. Of course, it costs a little more in different formats.
Right.
Outside of jazz, it doesn't cost nearly as much to work a jazz record to radio as it would for a rap record or an R&B record or a pop record. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's still the same formula. It's still the same path. You get a radio buzz going. I don't care if you're 100. Like I said, number 100 on a pop chart. You're on that chart.
Absolutely.
You're gonna make some money. So really, it's all about radio. Getting it promoted to radio. Radio is still king. Really,
y'all hear that, folks? Radio is still king. How about college radio? Is that good?
College radio, yes, because a lot of these stations that my guy promotes to are college stations.
Okay.
My wife has a radio show here in Atlanta. It's one of the premier smooth jazz stations in Atlanta, WCLK. It's a college station. It's Clark, Atlanta. But they're a Billboard reporting station. They report their numbers to Billboard. So it's college radio, yes. Yes. Make a radio buzz. People still listen to radio, or else it wouldn't exist anymore.
Wouldn't exist. Okay. All right. Y'all heard it, folks. What you got, Brandon?
How does charting transition into dollars?
Okay.
You said that a couple times. Explain that to me.
Yes, sir. Okay. Your charting means you're getting spins. The higher you're up on the chart, the higher your spin count. The more spins, the more money. You're going to get paid a couple of ways. You're going to get paid, whatever performance rights organization you belong to, whether it be ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, whatever. We belong to CSAC. We own our own masters. We own our publishing, and, we write the majority of our stuff. So you're going to get your writer's portion of the song from the spins. You're going to get your publisher's portion from the spins. There's another company called Sound Exchange, and they track stuff like internet kind of radio stations. Everything. They don't track terrestrial radio. They track everything except for regular terrestrial radio. So you get a royalty from them, from spins. You get a royalty just for owning your own master. You get a royalty for whoever's the featured performer on the song. You get a royalty for that as well. So it's all about spins. And when I tell you, it adds up. It adds up a lot, and it adds up pretty quickly. Don't let it get into the Billboard top 10. You're gonna see a few bucks.
Right.
You're gonna see a few dollars. And it's all about spins. When you're on the chart, that means you're getting spins. The more spins, the higher up you go. The goal is to get in that top 10, really the top. Well, I was told anything in the top 15 on Billboard is considered a radio hit. Radio hit, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Anything in the top 10 or top 5, it's basically it's a real, legitimate hit. And like I said, you're going to see a little bit of bread, from those performance rights organizations, from Sound Exchange. You guys hip to Sound Exchange?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Brandon's a filmmaker, so you know
Okay.
he's really learning.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. We get a lot of our music. It gets worked to Sirius XM satellite. We do a direct deal with them, so we don't go through like Sound Exchange. They don't collect our royalties from Sirius XM. Sirius XM actually pays us every month.
Wow.
And like I said, you get a hit. You know, you're gonna see a few bucks. You know, just from a radio hit.
Wow.
Radio. If you're not charting, it's not saying that you can't, you know, make any bread, but you're gonna make a little bread. If you want a serious, legitimate chart, you're gonna see you're gonna see a little bit of action, you know. So I always tell everyone, please retain ownership of your masters.
Yes.
If you're an independent artist, don't sign it away. Try to keep
Yes.
everything, keep your publishing, because it adds up. And
Wow.
more spins means more money, means more increase, you know, on the charts, and everyone will be happy, and you can pay your bills, and
You guys chart pretty frequent. You know what I mean?
We try,
Yeah.
try. You know, we've been blessed. You know,
Yeah.
she's been consistent. She's had 8 consecutive Billboard top 10 hit singles.
Oh wow.
You know,
Yeah.
she's had
That's
8.
amazing.
Yeah, she's been on a 5-year run.
Yeah, and it's been an amazing freaking run too, man. Let me tell you.
She's
Just somebody just sitting in the stands. Oh, it's been amazing to watch.
I appreciate it. I'm always blabbing about it.
I mean, it's been amazing to watch, man. It has. And from 97 until now to see how far you come is just incredible. It is. My hat's off to you, man.
Thank you, man. My hat's off to you, you know, as well, because watching from 97 up to now, what you're doing, I'm blown away.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very impressed. Matter of fact, I'm damn proud of you, man.
Thank you, man.
Very, very proud.
That's from my sensei.
Oh man, it's just really proud of you guys. I'm loving this platform. You know, Sway, you're doing your thing. You know, Brandon, I'm loving the professionalism of how this whole thing is
Thank you.
coming together. It's beautiful, man. You guys,
Excellent.
please keep doing it. You know,
Without a doubt. Without
Yes,
question.
sir.
You know what I mean? So what do you think about a final episode, Brandon? What do you think?
Hey, I think we went out swinging, man. This was awesome.
Yes.
This is a great episode.
Yes. Yes.
Very
Thanks,
insightful.
Dennis. Yeah, I mean, we appreciate you, man. We do.
Yes, thank you, sir.
I'm so flattered to be here. I'm so honored that you. Thank you for having me. I'd love to come back. If you want to talk about more stuff, I'd love to come back.
Yes,
know,
sir.
You guys,
Indeed.
great.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. Man.
So there you have it, folks. You want to close the final show out, Brandon, or should I?
Go for it, sir.
All right. So I think this was an amazing season 2. You know what I mean? We tried some different things this year than we did last year. First season was more so about making sure we could actually be consistent, you know? And I think we proved that first season. Second season was, you know, us growing and expanding and teaching and learning more and more and more. I think we've done that as well. Couldn't be more honored with our final guest, you know what I mean? And all the knowledge he dropped today. It's just been wonderful. It's just been wonderful. Brandon, I thank you for sticking with me, you know, because I know I can be hard to deal with all the time.
Yeah, we all can, man.
You know what I mean? But you know, you stuck with me for all these many years, and then at the same time, you put up with me for what, 9-10 weeks in a row now? You know, so I just appreciate you no matter what I do or don't do or go through or don't go through. Your response is, fuck them, let's go. So, man, I'm just so thankful for you and glad to have you a part of my life, man. Seriously.
Same, man. Same. I'm honored.
Yeah. So we got a lot of work to do in this next year coming up, and guess we'll see y'all again next October. No. All right, that's it, folks, for another episode of Peanut Butter Magic. Boss 10, Sway Low. Till next time. Peace.
Peanut Butter Magic Show. It's the Peanut